everyone. I'm Tanya Rivero. In a political upset, Boston City Councilor Ayanna Pressley is the Democratic nominee for Massachusetts' 7th District. Incumbent Congressman Michael Capuano, who has been in office for 20 years, conceded the race in front of his supporters Tuesday night.
Clearly, the district wanted a lot of change. Jeff Sanchez lost tonight. Byron Russian lost tonight. And apparently the district just is very upset with lots of things that are going on. I don't blame them. I'm just as upset as they are. But so be it.
The win is being compared to another primary upset on the East Coast when newcomer Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez won against New York Representative Joe Crowley. If elected, Pressley would be the first black woman Massachusetts has sent to Congress. Joining me from Boston now is CBSN political contributor Michael Graham. He's also a columnist for the Boston Herald and politics editor at nhjournal.com. Michael, thanks for being with us. Break this all down for us, if you will. How big of a political upset is this?
It's huge. There hasn't been a poll yet that showed City Councilor Ayanna Pressley winning against Mike Capuano. And I kept writing these columns for the Herald about how she was going to win. And everyone's like, what are you, crazy? He has all the money. Look at all the endorsements. Former Governor Deval Patrick backed him. And I said, it's just the wrong moment. And it's interesting. Mike Capuano, who's, by the way, a fine liberal congressman. He's, there was nobody complaining about the job he was doing. He entered his service in Congress the same year that Joe Crowley did in New York. And so the parallels are astonishing. And an ethnic white guy who's a good, solid liberal voter in a district that's become majority minority. And the voters felt like, we're going to get a similar vote with either representative. They're going to vote 99% of the time the same way. Why not have someone who looks like us, who represents us as well? And that was the winning message in the city of Boston tonight. There
are a lot of parallels between those two races. I want to get to that in a second, but I want to talk a little bit more about this district because it was once represented by Tip O'Neill and John F. Kennedy. Can you describe the 7th for us?
It's now what we consider very urban, and it stretches through the city of Boston and into some of the more left-leaning suburbs like the Cambridge, Somerville area. And it's the kind of district where the most transition from this, the new economy that involves a lot of migration from outside the country and a lot of migration from inside the country, where people, tend to come and they start, their move into the rest of the American dream, if you will. It's a district where economically it's, you could argue, very polarized. It's got some particularly affluent areas and then some areas that are particularly hard hit. But mostly, I mean, it was openly said in the debate for this district, we are far left. We deserve a far left representative. We don't have to compromise. They were making the point. We're not like a New Hampshire. We're not a suburban district. We are one. I think the last time I checked, Trump got 9% of the vote in the district. I think that's about right, 9%.
Right. They're flying their liberal flag, and they are not shy about it.
Absolutely. Letting it fly, yes.
All right. So Pressley will run unopposed in November. So the Republicans, I guess, just think they have absolutely no chance in that district?
No. They haven't run anyone there in a long time that's worth talking about. And, that's part of, American politics. There are places in the country, in South Carolina, where you don't see a lot of Democrats running. But I think what can't be overlooked is look at what happened with Ocasio-Cortez and then in Florida just a week ago and then tonight. It's not just that a minority candidate won, although that is significant. It's that minority candidates who never led in the polls, who had very little money, who nobody expected to win, won. And in the case of Ayanna Pressley, she won handily. If the numbers stay about where they are, we're talking about a 13, 14-point win in a race where she never led in the polls. And that means the people who are showing up to vote are not the people that pollsters are finding. Now, we're late in the primary season, but as the politics editor for New Hampshire Journal, I obviously keep an eye on things in New Hampshire. Their primary is next week. They've got 1st Congressional District with a retiring congresswoman, and there's a candidate there backed by the Obama team, and there's another a local candidate who's kind of the establishment candidate, and then there are a couple of wild card progressive liberals really running on the, impeach now and abolish ICE. And people think that they know who the frontrunners are. And I'm saying you just don't know this year. People are showing up to vote. that aren't the traditional primary day voters.
I agree. That's a significant point that not a single poll showed her ahead, and yet by double digits she won the race. Now, again, that's another reason the race is drawing comparisons to the Alexandria Cortez upset that we were just talking about. So there are similarities. What are some of the differences, though? Pressley does have more experience in politics, correct?
Well, it was easier, I think, to vote for Ayanna Pressley. You know, one of the advantages that Congressman Capuano had is that he saw it coming. You know, Joe Crowley just got,
blindsided.
No clue. A year ago, she was bartending, and now she's Congresswoman-elect. I mean, that is pretty shocking. But Capuano, while he had time to prepare for it, one of the arguments that you could have made in the case of Ocasio-Cortez, which is she doesn't have any experience, you're kind of taking a chance, taking somebody with no background and just putting them in Congress. Maybe you want to slow down on that, maybe not. But Ayanna Pressley is a well-respected city councilor. She's been on the city council for a while. In fact, one of the reasons she chose to run this year was that there wasn't a lot of room for her to grow, if you will, in the local market, for politics. And this was an opportunity that she needed to take, and she certainly picked the right year. It was very easy for a voter to say, you know what, with Ayanna Pressley, we might be giving up some seniority, but we're not giving up any skill. She's a competent political leader. We can go with this historic choice. Fascinating races ahead. Michael Graham, thank you for your insight